comments, gentlemen?
Well, Mr. Carey, I must say, sir, that if these be natural rights, and if they be given by God, and they are given to men, are slaves not men, sir?
At the moment, they are property. And woe be unto any of you who allow a government to take your property at will and not compensate you. Now, Mr. Lee has correctly stated that every statute in Virginia shall be revisited. They must be. But we have property now, and if a government can't protect your person and your property, you haven't got a government.
Generally, to respond directly to the lady's question, she wishes to know how can the institution of slavery be justified in our society when we ourselves are proclaiming for individual rights for all in a state of society. For all these generations, since this earth was created by Almighty God, these 6,000 years, slavery has existed. Governments and societies have existed. And it is a fundamental principle throughout all of them, throughout all history, presently certainly in this world too, that a conquered people surrenders its rights and liberties unto the conquering power. We ourselves, therefore, you see, are justified in our present struggle. We are not a conquered people. We're the descendants of the British conquerors. No power on earth, therefore, can remove from us our rights which come from God. Our slaves and their ancestors are indeed a conquered people. Conquered at first by other African princes, then later by European powers, most notably the Dutch, the Portuguese, and thus the argument is made that they surrender those rights. They are, instead of being men with rights or members of in the state of society, they are property. And as the other gentlemen have already stated, property is sacred. There are many of us, myself certainly included in that number, who have come to realize that with nearly half our population in Virginia being slaves, they've become our greatest danger. My greatest worry, and I'm certain that this is probably shared by all of these other worthy gentlemen, is not so much the savages in the West, or the red menace coming from across the Western Ocean in the form of redcoats. It's an organized and successful insurrection of our Negroes. With that in mind, there are many of us who believe that certain steps must be taken immediately. Indeed, I'm pleased to report we've already taken, finally, the first step towards the gradual, peaceful, and compassionate withering away and death of that abominable institution. But as slavery was begun into this country by bits and measures, so must it also end. Certainly, madam, do not expect that the institution of slavery will end in your lifetime. Who else? Are there others? Just here.
Sir? The gentleman inquires, well, sir, the gentleman inquires as to whether under a new government, whether one particular state under that government who does not agree with that, the principles can remove themselves from government. Sir, first of all, let me say to you, the government that we're speaking of here is the government of Virginia. I can assure all of you that we are not speaking of some sort of federation or government or confederacy of governments organized in Philadelphia City by the Continental Congress. Mr. Lee may wish to speak of that. I know there are certain things that we are willing to do as far as cooperating with the other states to ensure that we win this war. Obviously, to combine our efforts together to fight together to defend ourselves and win this war. But we're not at all considering a confederacy. Well, at least as far as I know. Are we, Mr. Lee?